Hello everyone, I'm extremely bored today, so I have nothing better to do but create another video a little earlier than I intended to make it. One funny thing I have noticed though is my views are becoming less and less as I post more and more parts of my tutorials. I'm sure it's because everyone stayed strong in the beginning, but end up trailing off as I put in more and more videos, and they end up finding other tutorials to follow along. Especially since I don't upload them so often. But I always try my best, and maybe I'll upload more often. Okay, quickly. What we went over last time is this timer thing. So if you don't have that typed in, type it in, because we need this timer in order to drop the tiny rocks. As the timer goes down slowly, the chances of rocks falling are increasing, because now it's you have a 1 out of 94 chance, 1 out of 92 chance. It gets lower and lower of a rock actually falling down. And as you notice, they're going kind of slow, so we might want to increase the speed. Also, they're coming at a very predictable fashion. We want to kind of have them go at a slant. That might be a little bit more fun to try to dodge and avoid than actually just coming down straight down. And this is going extremely slow. My goodness. We also can shoot the player. So let's get that down. Let's create a new field type, and let's see which we call it. Let's call it slope. Have it fall at a slope. Oh, make it a float. So we can use decimals. So let's go down to our enemy. And we're gonna call these actually our enemy properties. So that's kind of what they are. It kind of tells the enemy what to do. It's gonna draw the enemy, move the enemy. Okay, so we want to make the enemies go at a slope. So here that equals n plus x slope. Okay, and we're gonna make the slope another random number. So now let's go down to here and add in the slope to whatever you want it to be. Let's see, the fall. What does fall do again? Oh yeah, let's make that perhaps a 5 and a 5. That might make it come down a little faster. Okay, a slope will equal another random number. Let's see, let's call it. You know what I noticed too is that there's a chance that the fall can become 0, which means it doesn't fall at all. So we might want to change that. So I'll show you how to fix that up too. So let's not make the slope too harsh. This is probably where I add the 3s. That might be good. We're gonna test it out to see what it does. We don't want our chances to hit 0, because there's a small chance that the random generator will hit 0. So let's see, what's a way to do this? I guess inside here, what we could do is actually cut this. We can cut that. No, we don't want it to continue. Okay, no, I thought of it. Copy that. Copy these two parts. Put them inside here. Paste it. And make sure it doesn't hit 0. So if em/fall does happen to equal 0, it's going to choose another one. Another fall number. Okay, copy that into there too. And that's how it's going to make sure this never hits 0 too. So a couple things I didn't think about. I haven't even actually tested the game that much or checked if there's any problems with it. But from what I see, that will be a problem. It's a common problem. Any other problems found in the game can always be posted, so we can go have a look at it and fix it. Okay, now let's go take a look at the game, see what's going on. There. Well, it's kind of crazy. And there you have it. One thing I just realized is, for some reason, I said let's have the fall in -5, but what good would that be if it's falling upwards? So that's actually completely ridiculous. So let's actually get rid of that. Huh. Man, I am not thinking at certain parts of this game for some reason. But yeah, that's what it should be. Because if you have something fall at a negative, it's gonna or no, you do want it. We're adding to it, right? Yeah, if you're having it fall at negative, at a negative speed, you're making it go upwards. So that means all the rocks should just fall straight down. There we go. Alright. Excellent. Now let's take a quick look real fast. I want to see what I have going on with my original game. So, there it is. A little zombie guy. How are these things falling? Oh, you know what? They're falling at a smaller slot. Okay. Makes sense. So maybe I had... it's possible I had 1 and 1. Can always test around with this. I don't want to spend too much time with this. Yeah, it looks a little better. I like that a little better. Alright. Let's probably change this 1. It's 100. Maybe... Well, you know what? We'll mess with all these numbers later. What we really need to work on is, let's see what we got. Maybe adding in more enemies would be great. So, now, I'm going to show you my next enemy that I'll be using. You can make up your own enemy or copy a similar version of this, but I'll be using this one, which is actually a little bigger version of this guy. So there's me, medium-sized rock, smaller rock. Alright, and it's already black, so we don't have to mask it, so let's go upload it. It's just called rock, so yeah, sounds good. Global rock equals loading it. Oh, by the way, I have the mic in the right jack this time. I didn't put in the wrong one. So I'm just gonna call it rock. What the heck? Nice and easy name. Easy to remember. Alright, so let's upload this separate enemy, and this is actually gonna be a really short video because there's really not much. Yeah, we'll just call it. Why not call it Med Rock or Medium Rock? That just got a little secret, just you and me. And you know what? I actually changed my mind. Draw rock. Okay. em.enemy, same thing as this one up here, but it's gonna be a bit different. Come to think of it, what you can always do is you can always kind of like mess with this, kind of modify it, so that way you only need to put all the drawing into one function. It's possible to do. I'll actually show you that right after I'm done doing this, showing you how to do it. Another enemy. It's basically the same thing as the top one. The image is equal to rock. The enemy style. This one's going to equal 1 this time, and I'll show you what that's going to do. What I want it to do is once you destroy this rock, I want smaller rocks to break from it. And another thing we could do in another video is I can show you how to do the particles. Alright, so let's kind of copy the rest of this. We don't really need to. Yeah, just like that. Yeah. You can always change it up if you want, but that's perfect. That's fine. Let's change these numbers a bit. 15. Perfect enough. Okay. Okay, now going on to the actual game engine right here. This is kind of like what runs it. Alright, so let's see. We got the timer, that. Alright, so this is going to show, or this is going to decide what numbers need to be chosen in order to make these rocks appear. Let's see, 2 I suppose, and if, but I did realize something. Oh yes, that's right. We have to increase the chances. If you don't want the rocks to come right in the beginning, you just add a number to the random. There's still a chance they'll be popping up right away, but I think it'll be fine. Another thing you can also do to actually keep track of the levels you're at is create a global variable called level, and every time it does this, just add 1 to the level. And then you want to post it. So here's our heads up display right here. GD. Let's see, let's put it right below this one. Let's see, 30 sounds good. 30, 20 below it. And then we're gonna do this level, and then post the level that we're at. That way, if a level hits a certain point, so let's say we're gonna have like this: if level equals, let's say, like, say like level 10 or something like that. And if then these things will start appearing, and then we just need to draw a rock, and it'll draw that rock. Now, before we actually start playing the game and testing this out, we need to add that one factor that's in there, that style. So, putting it right here. But before, you know what? I just realized, tiny rock. Nothing happens if there's a tiny rock, so we don't need this. So, medium size rock. One thing I did realize is I haven't actually put any collisions into the game. So what's the point of having a second enemy? Whoops, and I typed something wrong. And where is it? And the only thing that I did realize with the level is it goes up along with this thing. So you can always change how often the level goes up, because the level's going up pretty dang quickly. Now there's the bigger rocks. They're falling, but they don't fall as often. It's kind of annoying because these guys don't seem to want to pop up that often either. So one way to actually fix this problem is if it's equal or less than 5. That way it pops up way more often. So there's actually a 5 out of 100 chance that will happen now. Way better way to do this. So we have, yeah, there you go. More rocks coming, more challenging game. Alright, so let's put in the collisions. We're going to kind of dedicate the rest of this video to just plain collisions. Alright, so what we're going to do is combine two types. Or two for statements, should I say. So here we go. Let's create a new function, see if it works this way. It might not. Function collisions. F. Collisions F. Collision functions. And function. Alright, so we're going to put all our collisions right in here. And this is going to delete everything. Alright, so if images, before we get images collide, let's go set it up. Okay. Next thing we gotta do is we have to put in the for commands. So let's put in the enemy commands, which is right here. And we have to combine both for commands in order for them to actually work with each other. Because when you have a for command, it only checks for the certain types inside the for command, the for next commands. So in order for the computer not to like yell at you and say that you have an error, let's put both corresponding types together right here. It might be kind of confusing, but if you just go by this procedure and kind of like nail it into your head, then you'll be fine. But not literally. Might kill you. Alright, so there. If images, I can speak, images collide. Now I don't remember the name of absolutely everything, so we have to find out the name of the images. What I like to do is just copy right here, copy that, put in parentheses, copy, there's an enemy, frame 0, so we're not working with animated images, and if we did, we still want that 0. Let's see, and here's the bullet image. I'm gonna put 0. Anyway, one thing I did realize and forgot to say is since the fact that we just totally created two enemies with like no problem at all, let's actually put this before we draw the enemies. Just to keep it organized, we'll put all the enemies right here at the end of the code. We know where to look for them. Anyway, as I was saying, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I actually demonstrated how easy it is to make two separate enemies, and all you have to do in order to have it all go into one draw command is basically like this. If you're up here, it says if random blah 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 that happens, then you basically want to make the image of the enemy, this image, equal something else. So let's just say, so I don't get rid of if I don't get rid of everything, images, create a variable called images. This is just a demonstration. You don't have to do this, but if you want to, you want to create a global up there, and all you have to do is do that draw tiny each time, and change this to draw tiny. Just put images equals tiny, I believe the image is called. Rock tiny. There it is, yeah. And this one you just gotta have images equals rock, and then just have draw tiny. So that way you don't have to keep on creating new different types of draw types. It actually will make things easier. The reason why I don't want to do this is because I might want different things to happen to these functions here. I might want to have one come down a little faster than other ones. So that's the only reason why I don't do that. There's yet another way to actually do it, so that way you can change all the properties. Is if you want things to change, you just put the variable names in here. It won't work since we work with types if you type in that, but it's a way to do it if you don't work with types. I'll show you that in the tutorial, but not right now. So let's get rid of all of this stuff. It's one way you can do it. It's not a way I'm going to do it, just for tutorial purposes. That way I just keep on repeating things so you can follow along with me. But if you want to go down the easy rank, go for it. Nothing wrong with it. There we go, tiny. Okay, so there's image. Here's the collision between the two, and if. And what's going to happen is you're going to want to delete them. So there we go. I did realize something. We actually probably don't need this right now, so let's delete it for the moment. Okay, so I keep on going back and forth between things because I actually realize things. It's just how I program. Okay, so we're going to want to delete the bullet, which is peanut butter and jelly for some reason. PB. If I can find a P, okay, P. And EM. PB, peanut butter. Huh. I wonder why I named it that. Another thing we want to do is exit this so it doesn't keep on looking for things to delete after it enters it, because the for commands keep on checking all of the types. Let's see if that works. It might not work because the bullets go off the screen. It might cause an error. I know it seems to work just fine. It doesn't seem to actually want to kill the rocks for some reason, but it still does work fine. Doesn't cause any type of errors. And the reason why it doesn't work is because I just realized we need to put this inside the loop. So I was a victim of the things I keep on telling people not to become a victim of. So isn't that smart? Okay, so let's make sure we don't get any type of no, you know what? Look at that. We don't have any type of errors at all. None whatsoever. So there you go. You have a fun little shooting game. You're killing things. One thing we don't have is score, which we can easily put in. And I just realized everything needs some hit points. So let's put in some hit points for the enemies. There we go. HP. Fun little thing to add to enemies, and that's what makes all these things different. So here we go. EM/HP for this tiny rock for me will equal 1. For the larger rock, it will equal 3. There we go. And come to think of it, I'm not sure if I actually have smaller rocks break from the larger rock. What you actually can do is have no HP for this guy, or have 1 HP for this guy, and have the player attack this rock and just have it break instantly and have these things appear. Right, so let's go put that in. So let's not actually delete this right away, but actually subtract an HP from the enemy. So HP equals HP minus 1. Alright. So then, this is actually where the styles do kick in. But for the moment, let's see. Enemy instructions are right here. Okay. In order so we don't have any type of errors or glitches, we want to create a separate for the enemy again. And the reason why is because we don't want to delete an enemy inside here if the HP equals 0. Is because it's still checking all the enemies, and sometimes for some reason it likes to glitch and cause errors and screw up your game. So to stay on the safe side, just create a separate each enemy check. And the reason why is because you're deleting an enemy and it's still drawing it, and all these crazy things are going on, all these massive errors. So we're just going to do this separate for command, and just trust me on this one. It'll keep your code in good shape. It won't screw it up. So what we're going to do is if em/hp is equal, or actually equal, or if it's how's this go? Less than 0. We want to delete the em and exit the command. Also, or if the enemy gets too low below the screen, since my resolution is 1000. Oh no, actually my y-axis is actually I think 600. Make sure 650. So if it goes below 650, you actually want to delete the rocks. That way it doesn't have a collection of types all over the place. So, or em slash, you know what? For scoring purposes, let's actually make that separate, because you might want to put in a score right down here. Move up your score. So we'll do that in the next video. For right now, let's just get through deleting these things. Em slash y becomes equal or greater than. Let's say 65 sounds good to me. Delete. Yeah. And this may cause a crash, because I think it has to be in the same if statement. But, you know, let's give it a shot. That seems to want to work just fine. And luckily you don't see any flashing. No flashing, no clashing, no nothing. Code. Another thing we're missing is we seem to be missing particles that fly after you destroy the rocks. Another thing, if I do pull up the other game, the finished game of this is actually pretty cool to try to avoid all these guys, even though they do absolutely nothing. Is okay, one thing we're missing is some enemy hit points that show up at the bottom. For right now, it doesn't really matter. I don't see any big rocks for some reason. I don't know where those guys are. Huh. Well, could be a mistake on my part. My goodness, where are those guys? Well, I do have one idea. We go back up here, and the fact that this is a 5 or less could be why. This might have to be a 6. My only guess. Anyway, going down here, everything should work. Oh, that's why, because they don't have any HP. I just said HP. Ha! Man, mistakes like crazy. Okay, so anyway, that's why he wouldn't show up. Now let's have one last collision. If the collision between the enemies and the player subtracts some HP from the player. In order to do so, we need to actually give the player HP, since the player actually doesn't have HP right now. Let's copy that, paste that thing right there. Ah, man, I'm pretty scared to find out how long this video has been. Okay, here's the player. Go back down to all collisions. Let's just click here. Why not? Well, guys, if it's half an hour, it's half an hour of fun, right? No? Oh. Okay, this time, if a rock hits the player, we probably most likely want to delete it. So, let's go ahead and do so. And let's actually put this outside of the bullet Yeah, the bullet one right there. Let's put instead enemy functions, but not the bullet. Now, hopefully, this doesn't cause any errors. Exit. Just call player HP just HP equals HP -1. And this all might be changed sooner or later, since you probably want different enemies to do different amounts of damage. Now, one thing everyone should probably look forward to, let's give them for right now just 5, but in the next video I'll teach you how to make a health bar. That'll be pretty fun. I really do like health bars. I think they look really nice. They make the game look pretty cool. And instead of numbers, it keeps you guessing to wondering how much HP you have. You just see kind of like a bar. You can also have numbers and a health bar, but it's all up to you. For me, I just personally like to have just a health bar. Hit points. HP. Okay. Put a space here, so we have room between the HP right here and the actual number level up here, of how many hit points you actually have. And oh, we don't want that to happen. So if we get hit by that, there, yep, deletes. HPs go down. You can go into the negatives right now since nothing happens. So let's do a quick thing. Boom! Alright, an obvious cut that I just did from the first part to this part. I created a game over screen in the last part, but I wasn't really pleased with it. And with interest of time, since the video is like already half an hour long, I'm doing a quicker version now to create a game over screen. I'm not going to create the final version this way, but this is one way to do a game over screen. Basically, if HP is equal or greater than 1, then you want to draw the player and keep them drawn. You want to disable controls if your HP goes into 0. So if HP, same thing as before, is equal or greater than 1, then allow the controls to run. If HP becomes equal or less than 0, then you want to put in the game over screen, and I'm going to center it. So my dimensions are 1000 by 650, so I want to put 500 by 325. And game over when I list this up. What a weird way to say that. Game over. There we go. And the 2 ones are going to center it, keep it right in the center. And is that it? Yes, I believe that's it. What this is going to do is basically get rid of the player, which later will have an explosion or some type of way to kill the player once he's dead. Once your HP is at 0, no player, no controls, it'll be disabled, and the game over will show up. So let's make sure this is working. Run the game. Get hit by a couple rocks. Bam, bam. And there you have it. Can't shoot, can't do anything. You get to watch this awesome game that you could be playing, but you died. There's the bigger rocks, so it shows that they're working now. Uh-oh. Well, things are disappearing still, because I'm still there, I suppose. So, that's one thing you can always fix, is get rid of collisions, too. So, let's do that real quick. You know what, I don't even have to do that. Just take this, where is it? There it is. Cut, paste that thing right there. There. Now, collisions won't even work anymore. So, there you have it. And that's game over screen. So, in the next video, we'll go over how to create a HP bar, how to create even more enemies, put more properties to them, maybe have enemies shoot back at you, put up more in the heads-up display, like enemy health bar, score, we gotta put in the score, points, all that good stuff. We'll be rearranging the code a bit, so don't get too happy with it, because some of it's gonna go and some of it's gonna stay. Right, until next time, I'll see you later.